Hey everybody, it is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF. This is episode 211, but the significance of today is that this is actually 208 weeks in a row where I have had the pleasure and the honor to be on this broadcast, sometimes with just me, and most of the time with great individuals. And today is no different. One of the people that's been very important to me in my career, even though it's only been the last 10 years, Grant Wise is with us today. Hey, Grant.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad you're here. This is I believe your third time on, or fourth. Might even be fourth. I don't know, because you've been on with other people. Let's just go. I tell you what. Let's just go to a quick video, and then we'll start rocking and rolling.
Real estate agent, are you looking to acquire clients consistently so you can grow your business and your income to live a great lifestyle? This is Dave Finale and the RE Skill Builder Podcast.
And welcome back, everybody. Good morning, everybody. This is episode 208, Real Estate Talk. It's actually 211, 208 weeks in a row, 4 years exactly that I have been doing this broadcast. To me, it's pretty cool. I'm really excited. And, this is really important to me. And that's why I have a really important person to have on here. And I'll just tell you a little bit about this guy. He's a serial entrepreneur, Grant Wise is. He's the president and founder of Witly. It's a client generating software for real estate agents. Now, Grant was like the first person, the first guy, the first company to do Facebook ads many years ago. And that's when we first met. Well, we were doing Facebook ads that would take us, a great job, and getting it done quickly was about 3 hours to get one done. Now, the way Grant has set it up with Witly, it's now anywhere from 90 to 180 seconds, like 1 to 3 minutes to actually post that same ad. Grant lives by one thing. He says, and I've stolen this from him from time to time. I'm not trying to be the most successful. I'm working to be the most valuable. Grant's worked alongside some greats that haven't even been on this broadcast yet. Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, Tom Kroll, Sean Kokoska, been on the show. Lauren Taylor last week, and many more. I've had the opportunity to work with Grant alongside and as student, and him as coach. He's just worked with many people, many companies, and been able to help them outperform themselves, and just been doing great. I mean, I could go on and on, Grant, but the last thing I want to say is, not only has he done all these things in business and been a great entrepreneur, but he's also a great human being. Grant is the kind of guy that I am so very fortunate to call friend, where I know that if I was stuck on the New Jersey Turnpike at 2 a.m. with a flat tire, even though he's in Arkansas, he'd find a way to get here to help me. So anyway, with all that being said, welcome, my friend Grant Wise.
Nah, man, thanks again. Thanks for all the kind words.
You're welcome, man. So this is episode 211, 208 weeks in a row, and it's called Real Estate Talk TGIF. The first question I ask everybody is, what does TGIF stand for?
Thank God it's finale.
See how easy that was? I mean, he didn't even get excited. I mean, you could get excited about it, but anyway, so Grant, I want to ask you the main question that I ask everybody to start, and then I'm going to go share this broadcast with a couple of people. Tell us your story on how you got started and how you got to be in the expert that you are in the social media, Facebook ads, branding, personal coaching, as well as strategic real estate coach. Talk to us about that, Maury, how you got there.
Oh man, how I got there. Well, a lot of life. That's probably the easiest way to say that. So I got started in business when I was, I think, what was I, like 19, and had some successes, had some failures, learned a lot of really hard life lessons, got into the real estate training and education space when I was about 23, 24, back in 2014. And when I started, I was just really simply teaching real estate agents how to use one Facebook ad. And it was like, the results of it were just like insane. And that led to me helping one person earn 6 figures in a year, and then another, and then another, and then another. And so throughout 2014, 2015, that's really what I did. I'd gone from legal bankruptcy to rebuilding my little business into a 6-figure business. Got around the right mentors, around the right masterminds, and developed some of the right relationships. And that translated into launching a course back in December of 2015 into 2016. We went from 6-figure business to multi-million-dollar business real fast. It was kind of wild, but all I did was I taught real estate agents how to use Facebook ads. And we went through that for a couple of years and had an enormous amount of success, developed a great reputation for getting people results. And I started asking myself a lot of these questions like, man, surely there was a way that we could just do this for people so they don't have to do it themselves. At the time, we were the technology support for like 4 different software companies because you had to do all this back-end work to successfully run Facebook ads. You had to have landing pages and email automations and text automations and sales processes. And so I started to kind of dream a little bit about what it could look like for us to just do this stuff for people. I didn't want to build a marketing agency because it's a very heavy business model. It requires a lot of people to make that successful. And there's an extremely high turnover rate in the real estate space for marketing agencies. And so SaaS, software as a service, kind of started to like crystallize itself as the way that we could build something that could do it for people, and then we wouldn't have to do it for them either. And I think it was 2017, we released the first iteration of the Witly platform, which would automate all of the landing page, email, text, sales, call automation. And we were able to take work that was like taking people hours and days and weeks. They snapped their fingers and basically it was done. It was phenomenal. It was like 30 seconds. And it gave us an opportunity to really like automate marketing for the first time in an extremely effective way. And so we kept going, we kept working, we kept developing. And it was in 2020, October of 2020, we released a second version of the Witly platform, which was an automated advertising platform. We built our own ad management system inside of Witly so that our users didn't have to go to Facebook anymore, didn't have to log into the platform, and they could just run ads right from our platform. And we took the really complex process of running advertisements and we condensed it down into 4 really simple steps. So what used to take our clients hours, now they could literally do in less than a couple of minutes. They could run ads that were actually more effective because our software automated all of the redundancies, which meant we could guarantee that every single ad was set up the right way from the beginning. We were able to eliminate a lot of the error that comes in learning how to do this, trying to understand the technology, trying to understand the strategies, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do this. And it was absolutely incredible because our business just skyrocketed. We went from our user base growth was up over 1,000% in a year, and it's just continued to climb that way. Our revenues obviously followed suit, which was phenomenal from a business standpoint because you work so hard for so many years. You sacrifice a lot to build these types of things, and I did. People ask often, like, what did it take to build Witly? I'm like, it took everything. It took all my money, all my relationships. It took absolutely every part of me. I had to really grow and evolve as an entrepreneur to get it to where it is today. But today we spend an enormous amount of time just continually building out technology that makes real estate agents' lives easier. We built a software that is a true growth engine for real estate teams, whether they want to generate leads, they want to do remarketing to build brand so they can convert, they want AI and human-based follow-up systems. We're able to generate leads for somebody, we're able to remarket those leads, and we're able to follow up those leads all so that the user can go back to focusing on just converting more customers in their business. And it's been, obviously a wild ride, but it's really, just for me, it's really fun to see the impact that all of that investment, time, money, energy, blood, sweat, tears has in other people's businesses. So that's how we got to where we are.
And that's just like not even half of it, of the businesses that you've helped and the people that have and what they've had to do. But along the lines, along the way, and that long road to where you are today, things you've done with agents, you've been able to talk to them, have conversations with them, talk to them about, one of the biggest examples I have, and I actually said this in a meeting you and I had the other day, was that one of my biggest faults and things that I have that we talk about is getting out of your own way. And that's one of the things that you've been able to do and help a lot of agents with. Talk to me a little bit about that issue that a lot of agents have.
Getting out of your own way. One of my favorite quotes probably ever is that entrepreneurship is first you build yourself and then you build a business. And a lot of people can go out and have success and make a lot of money, but if they're not doing the work on themselves, it's really creating this kind of illusion of success, this artificial success, or this artificial change that they feel like their life is transformed just because they've made a lot of money. And, it always comes back. And I think that, at least in my own life and what I've seen in other people, is I have a coach that said it really well. It's like, well, Grant, we started working together probably 2 to 3 years ago. And what's interesting to me is you are still the number one reason you aren't where you want to be today. It's this continuation of learning and evolving and adjusting and growing. And then that translates to success. Most real estate agents come into this industry with more of a jobs background. They don't understand systems and processes because they were a part of somebody else's systems and processes. They maybe don't have the discipline, or they don't have the consistency. There's a number of different just character traits that they don't maybe possess walking into this industry that they have to go develop. There's some skill development work that has to be done. A lot of people get into real estate to be realtors, but they don't understand, in order to be a very successful realtor, they have to be really great marketers. They have to be really great salespeople. And if they do those two things right, then they can be a really successful real estate agent, which is why the average income in this industry is less than $16,000 year one. And year two. Like, most real estate agents that come into this space don't actually start making any money for 3 or 4 years. And it is because they are not so focused on skill development. They're not so focused on discipline and habits and rituals and routines. And when they fix those things within themselves, they really start to grow and scale. And so I would say that it is just that intentional desire to improve, whatever that may require. And entrepreneurship is that you will only grow, your business will only grow to the level and to the degree, to the extent that you do as a person. And the more that you can kind of just get out of your own way, the more successful you can become.
I love the way you put all that and put that together with skill development, habits, and routines. And one of the things that I see in the same thing, and learning more about me, and I guess I'm going to be the perennial and the forever student of myself. And I think if people do that, they'll grow. I mean, I've noticed a lot of growth in and of myself over the last 6 months for a lot of reasons. But one of the things I realize, and I hope everyone else would realize too, is that your past has nothing to do with your future unless you allow it to. Mm-hmm. And that can be either good or that can be bad. Or it could just keep you in your own way, because the blame part, the doubt part, the blame is the catalyst to the doubt, which is the fear, which is the procrastination. If you say that I just procrastinate, stop that kind of talk. And getting out of your own way is actually saying the things, but then actually performing. So it's like if you're going to set a goal, you got to commit to that goal. You got to make sure you have the action steps, but you also got to perform. And I believe, as I've learned from you and others, is that if you're doing the actions every day that you need to do, you're able to get there. There are lots of pieces. There's no question about that. But it has to be done in a way where your past means nothing, and what you're looking to do every day has to be a focus of what you're doing today. And that's what's helped me a lot, especially in the past couple of weeks, to be very honest with you. So,
yeah, I think that one of the things that I've told people on a lot is that the process to becoming successful, the process to improving your life, the process does not care how you feel. It only cares about what is required. So many of us go through our lives trying to control every element, and what we really need to do is we need to submit to the process of becoming successful, of becoming good with money, of having great health, of becoming great with relationships, of becoming good with money, whatever that might look like, submit to the process, because it doesn't care how you feel, which is where most people get tripped up, is trying to control how things should go and trying to control, any number of things. The reality is if you just let go and submit to the process, you typically can find that you're gonna be far more successful. I probably invest now, I think it's like $10,000 to $12,000 a month in coaches and consultants and therapists and mentors that help me improve in so many different areas of my life. And I don't walk into those rooms and say, oh, here's why what you're telling me is wrong. I walk into those rooms to say, here's what I've done over the last week. And then they coach. They say, okay, let's change this. Let's adjust this. Let's make this improvement. And then I go back out there and I keep progressing. I keep making the changes. I keep doing the things. I go back to the process does not care how I feel. It only cares about what is required, which is why I submit to the process of becoming whatever it is that I'm trying to become, instead of saying, well, no, this is how I think it should be done. And I think that if more people have that mindset, they might be able to achieve whatever their version of success is much faster.
So would you agree that if you just focus on what your action steps are for that one day, that 1 hour, whatever it is, that's going to help you get by and move forward better?
I think it can, yeah. I was talking to somebody just a couple of days ago. Like, when you decide what it is that you want, put that damn thing down. Like, you've already decided. And then it's just reverse engineering what it's going to take in order to get there. And commit to the daily disciplines, the little bitty steps that you should take each and every day that compound into whatever the big thing it is that you're trying to achieve over time. Stop focusing on achieving that one thing tomorrow. This is where so many people get disconnected, is because they say, I want to achieve this thing. And that's the only picture they have in their mind. And so they go start working towards it, but they don't really have a blueprint. They don't have a plan. They don't have any set of steps that they've got to take. You got to decide what you want, reverse engineer what it's going to take to get there, and then just go, just work. And one day you're going to look up and you're going to be there, or you will have achieved far more than you thought that you ever thought was possible. You asked me a question, how did we get to where we are today? I never in a million years could have imagined that I would be where I am today. When I started doing social advertising for real estate agents almost a decade ago,
Right.
Like, where I'm at today was not even like I always had a hope, right, that I could be successful. But I had no idea that I would have the relationships and the skills and do you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, if you can figure out what it is that you want, put that thing down. You've already decided. Now just go take the actions each and every day that you need to take in order to get there. Like, that's what's going to make you successful. It's the little stuff that you do for a long, sustained period of time that makes you successful. It's not the big stuff you do over a few days or weeks that burn you out and you end up quitting that really gets you anywhere.
What about the, you were talking about that one thing, right? I mean, what about people that want to do that have, 3 or 4 different things that they want to master, they want to do, and they want to get done, and their biggest problem is that they're not focused on just one thing. Is it possible to do more than one and to achieve more than one goal at a time?
I think it is, but I think it's very difficult. Like, it's hard enough to achieve one thing as opposed to 3 or 4 other things at the same time. I realized in my life, when I've tried to do everything at once, I ended up accomplishing nothing. So I set some clear priorities. And what was so fascinating is I just kind of let go of a timeline and started working on, improving myself, because I wanted to get up early. I wanted to work out. I wanted to eat right. I wanted to work. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. I wanted to make money. I wanted to have relationships. I wanted to do it all, but I wanted to do it all at the same time. And so eventually I kind of shred that mindset and said, okay, what's the number one thing I think that can make the most impact on me? Getting up early so I have more time in the day. Okay, I'm going to work on getting up early every day. And it started, I was getting up at like 8 or 9 o'clock. Now, this is years and years and years ago. I was like, I want to get up at 5 a.m. Well, I'm not going to go from 8 to 5. All right, that's probably not going to happen. And so I would set an alarm. Snooze, snooze, snooze. Well, then over time, I learned that if I put my alarm in my bathroom, I'll get up every single morning, like clockwork. It was a really interesting thing to understand about myself. So I started putting my alarm in the bathroom. And then I started going backwards. They went from 8 to 7:30, and then to 7, and then to 6:30, and then to 6, and then to 5:30, and then to 5. Now I wake up every day at 4:30. And I almost don't even need an alarm clock. I woke up this morning at 4:33 with no alarm clock. But it was because I just focused on doing that one thing, building that muscle over and over and over and over again. And then eventually somebody came in and said, you've been trying to wake up at 4 a.m. Go to bed at 8 o'clock. You're not going to go to bed at 11 o'clock every night and get enough sleep that you can survive for a long sustained period. So I started going to bed at 8:30. Now I have no problems waking up at 4:30, whether the alarm is sitting right next to me or it's sitting in the bathroom. But it wasn't like, I didn't just say, I'm going to go do all of these things. I tried that. And I realized that really at the end of the day, I just needed to set a priority and lean into that. And then the priority became going to the gym every morning. So I worked on that. Now I don't have any problems with that. Then the priority became eating right. But I noticed that the more I focused on improving myself, everything else around me just kind of naturally improved. And it was a fascinating discovery. And so I think that there are things that I want to accomplish without question. But the reality is, like, it is very difficult to try to do them all at the same time. I have to really, really understand what it is that I want. And I have to really, really analyze what it is that's going to get me there. And that means I've got to set very, very clear priorities and very, very clear boundaries around my priorities. And I've gotten really good at this. And there's not a lot of people around me that don't probably get a little bit upset with me, but I know where I'm going and I know what's going to get me there and I know what's not. So I've developed this skill of saying yes and saying no and having clear boundaries. And that's really given me, putting me on a fast track to getting where it is that I want to go. And I've aligned myself with people that can help me get there.
So you've learned the most important word that a lot of people rarely use. You've learned that word and know how to use it. You know what word that is, right?
Which one?
No.
Yes. Yes. I've
Right?
learned how to tell people no. Yeah.
You know, it's a funny word because a lot of times people, and I say funny more peculiar than haha, but you know, it's when people ask you to do something, a lot of people, if they don't want to do something, they've got to qualify everything. I tell everybody I work with is when you're going to say no, that's what you say. That's it.
Yeah.
No.
You don't have to justify yourself. You don't have to justify yourself to anybody.
Right. Exactly.
We spend so much time worrying about what other people think, and it's just a devastating blow to what it is that you ultimately want to achieve in life. I love this quote about perception. It is, I'm not worried about what I think of me. I'm not even worried about what you think of me. I'm worried about what I think you think of me. We all walk around thinking that we know what everybody is thinking about us, and the reality is they're worried about what you think of them. And when you really kind of just understand how human nature is playing out all around you, you stop caring so much about what you think somebody else is thinking about you, because the reality is they're not even thinking about you. And it just gives you so much freedom to just move. I have no problem telling people no, because I know where I'm going. And I don't worry that they're going to think this or that of me. Most of the times when I tell people no, they say, you know what, I understand, you got priorities. And most of the time when somebody gets upset about it, it to me is communication that they don't care about what I want. They care about what they want, which means we're probably not going to get along anyway. And so it's definitely served me well.
You know, the interesting thing about people, we worry about what they think about us. And I use this little quick story. I do it really quickly, I promise. You know, you go into you go into a street in this town and there's movie theaters lined the street, and each movie theater has your name on it. So you go into the first theater and you sit behind one person that's in there and you're seeing your life. It's everything you thought about it. And that person that's sitting in there is you. You leave there, you go to the next one. Maybe it's your mother. You're sitting there behind your mother and you're seeing how she saw you. And you're saying, wait a minute, that didn't happen that way. And then, you know, you continually do this and you go down the kid you grew up with down the street and you're seeing how he saw you. He says, wait a minute, that's not how that happened. The point of this story is really simple, that everyone is going to see you in their own light rather than what you think they see you. So the old movie theater story is what really brings that home if you really think about it, you know? So anyway, I want to get into two things. One is branding, and this is one thing that you've been really high on and do a lot of work with. And I want to talk about branding and what's important for the real estate agent as far as branding themselves. And we talk about that a little bit, please.
I think what we've talked about this whole time really ties in so perfectly to the message behind, branding, is that, I have a quote: person that works with everyone works with no one.
Right.
And a lot of times real estate agents don't understand that even though they've put no intentional thought into building a brand, they have one. And your brand, in my opinion, is really the relationship that you have with the marketplace, how the marketplace perceives you. And it's what cripples so many people, as we've talked about perception. Perception is not perception is not what you think of me, or perception, I think, just is understanding that perception is what I like in you, David, that I see in myself. And perception is also what I don't like about you, David, that I don't like about myself. And most real estate agents, I don't think, understand that when you go out there and you set out to build a business and build a brand, they try to walk on eggshells and step around this and step around that. Well, I want to make sure that I don't hurt anybody's feelings, or I don't alienate this part of my thing, or I don't want the haters, or I don't want this. But the reality is, just as you live and breathe, somebody is either going to see something in you that they like, or they're going to see something in you that they don't like, all about themselves. And when you understand that, I hope that you grow to understand that even though you are trying not to upset people, or you are trying not to push people away, or you are trying to say the right thing so that you attract everybody, at the end of the day, there's going to be a group of people that don't like it. So you might as well say what you want to say. You might as well build a brand based on however it is that you want to build it. You might as well, like everybody else kind of overstates, go out there and live authentically and be yourself. Because the people that are already attracted to you for who you really are what's going to happen is you're going to find more people like that. And the
Right.
people that are already not your biggest fans for whatever reason are not going to be your biggest fans for whatever reason. These are things that are already happening. You take the person that shuts their mouth, that doesn't say a word, that doesn't talk to anybody, that doesn't push out their opinions, that is very introverted, people won't like it. There's always going to be those people that are like, oh my gosh, that person never says a word. Hate that. And they're probably not saying a word so that they don't have anybody criticize them. But people are criticizing them for it. It's fascinating is that we have so many people that are out there trying to build a brand and trying to please everybody that aren't understanding, they are already not pleasing everybody. Everybody already doesn't like what they have to say, or everybody does like it's already happening. So you might go out there and just say what you want to say, be who you want to be, because the people that are already attracted to that, you're going to find more of those people. And the people that already don't like it, you're going to find more of those people too. I was like Grant Cardone's quote, said 50% of the people in this country hated my guts. I could be president of the United States. Reality is, it's already happening, whether you want it to happen or not. And I think that's probably one of the number one things I hope people understand as they are trying to hide from perception. They're trying to hide from their thoughts and feelings and emotions in the way that they want to present themselves to the market, in an effort to eliminate haters, eliminate the people that don't like them, eliminate these things, but it's already happening. And so I think that's probably the number one thing I could say, that I've noticed, is that people are so into perception and what people think of them that they don't take any action at all. But even in the not taking action, they could go around and find people that don't like them for it. And so what is that quote? You want to make people happy, just sell ice cream, right? I always say to that, Yeah, but some people are lactose intolerant. Like, you're never gonna please everybody, so don't try, especially when you're out there trying to build a brand. The more you lean in, the more successful you will become.
You said it in 2 words: be yourself. Be yourself and go out there and have the persona of what you want to be. I mean, if you want to be a real estate agent, that you say you got into this business to help people, so go out and help people, right? Don't be a phony. Fine tune onto who you're going to work with. Since I've worked with you and talked to you, I mean, it's like, who's your ideal client? And there's simple questions to ask yourself. And a lot of those questions that you ask, like, where do you shop? What kind of car do you drive? What kind of music do you like? All those questions, you might not know the answers to them, but as you start going through those questions, you're going to realize that the person you want to work with is you, right? And if you get down to that, like for me, I've honed in on, what my niche is and how I need to work it and where I need to get. It took me a long time to get there, right? Because you always think that you can work with everybody. I know who I can't work with. I know who I don't want to work with. I know who I want to work with, and I know who I can impact the most. Yeah. And that's where I've been able to build a brand. And that's where you've been able to build a brand. And a lot of these guys out there, that are doing what we all do. Is there a trick to getting yourself out there as your brand, or is it just be everywhere?
The trick. So attention is the currency of sales, right? The only way that you're going to generate more sales for your business is to get more attention. And today, obviously, we all have access to social platforms that can help us get that attention. So, at the end of the day, it's just understanding who your customer is, what they want to talk about, what they want to hear about, whether that has to do with real estate or it has to do with green smoothie recipes. Like, I don't care either way. Know who your customer is and what they want to consume from a content standpoint, and then create content or document your life as it's happening and share that in content. And at the end of the day, you don't have to create content as much as you just share what it is that you're experiencing in life. If you look at $1 Million Listing as an example, this is one of the most successful TV shows in the real estate space. It's just a documentation of what's happening when these people are doing sales for like super luxury deals in LA or New York or wherever. Right. This is not them creating anything. They're documenting the reality of what's happening. And so if you'll just open up, share what it is that you're experiencing every single day with people, that's what's going to allow you to create connections. We try to put so much intentional thought into gaming the system. The reality is, know who you want to work with, know what kind of content they want to consume, and as you're going about your day, share what it is that you are doing with the people that you're trying to attract. And if you'll do that today, it's never been easier in human history to win relationships, and as an extension, win business, because of these social platforms you have access to. So just share what you're going through each and every day. I'm not saying share all your problems. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying just share all your successes either. But what I am saying is just like document your day. This is why we have videographers. I got cameras on me right now that are documenting what we're doing. I don't have time to go sit around and create content. And so I have to document what's happening for me each and every day. And then we take that and we put it into content. So just share what you're doing each and every day. And that gives people this kind of like behind the scenes view of what it is like to be you, what you're doing, what you think, what you believe, how you handle situations, what you like, what you don't like, all that other stuff. And that's what's going to help you develop relationships at a high level and win business.
But if someone was to say to you, okay, I get that, and that's how I'm going to build a brand, but don't I need to like have like interesting stuff to put out there? If I'm just sitting at a desk for 3 hours or making calls for 3 hours and then I just drive around, isn't that, and I do that every day? How can I do that every day? How can I post the same shit every day?
Do you do the exact same thing every single day? Like, that would be my question. When you're sitting at the computer, are you typing the exact same words? Right? Are you filling out the exact same contracts? Are you driving to the exact same locations? Reality is, the answer is probably no. Every day's got its new stories attached to it. It's new people that you're helping and serving. It's new experiences. And so the even if you are doing the same actions as far as like sitting at a desk, I'm sitting at a desk freaking 10 hours a day. Like, but it doesn't mean I'm doing the exact same dang thing for 10 hours each and every day. I'm doing something different every single day, having a different experience each and every single day. So yeah, even if you are sitting at a desk for, 10 hours a day, share what it is that you are doing with people. That's what we want. We want humans to connect with. This is a people business. Okay. It's a people business. Like, you've got to understand that it's your ability to connect with people that is going to help you have success at a really high level. Yes. People that are attracted to you, that are trying to learn about you, about your business, they're going through this discovery phase, is what we call that in the sales process or the funnel. They want to know who you are, right? They want to connect with you. They want to know that you're an expert. They want to know that they can have a good relationship with you. They want to know that you share common beliefs. They want to know that you like and don't like the same things. The answer to the question is yes, share that stuff, because the people that are actively looking at you right now to decide whether or not they want to use you to help sell their property are absolutely developing a relationship with you through your social channels. And you know what? Like, we don't have to argue about it. If you're not putting it out, they're developing a relationship with somebody else.
Right. If you're not doing it, somebody else is.
Yeah, I'm not here to sell you on whether or not you should be doing it. I'm just here to tell you that if you're not doing it, that's totally fine. Other people are, and you're losing. Like, we've been doing this now for a decade. I got to give you a sales pitch on why you should be doing this. At this stage in the game, if you don't understand why you need to be doing this, it's not going to work. Like, it's not going to work out. We're in an age where everybody's out there putting out content, developing relationships with people. So if you're not doing it, it's fine. Just understand you're giving yourself a very strategic disadvantage, and it's probably why you're losing so much business. Sorry to ruffle some feathers there, David.
No, I don't care. You know me, man. I do my best to ruffle feathers, and you know what? I think I grow haters more than I grow followers. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway. So all right. So let's. So basically, in and of itself, branding is basically being yourself and doing what you've got to do to be that person that you want to be, to bring in the person that you want to work with. Building rapport is all about building relationships, and you're really not going to. I believe that you're really not going to get too far in any business unless you grow a relationship, which means growing rapport and building rapport and being in rapport, as we've heard so many say. And that is by asking questions, being inquisitive, being personal with people, rather than just being that salesy, cheesy jerk that just wants to get the listing signed or I show them a house and get it done. Okay, so we've talked about branding. We've talked about getting out of your own way. Now I want to talk about strategies. I want to talk about strategies. And as I said when we opened up this broadcast today, as I talked about the things that I've learned from Grant Wise and now Witly, from Modern Agent Mastery all the way to here, is how to really save time and to be able to market myself. And I do realize that when I first started with Grant Wise and Modern Agents, I was doing a lot of work. I was building landing pages. I was building systems and processes for my own self, which had a lot to do with capturing information, with sending out emails and setting all that stuff up. Now, I said in the beginning, it took me 3 hours, and that was really good timing. That was really a good ad, and it took me 3 hours to do it perfectly. And now we can do it in 3 minutes. So first, talk to me about old strategies that people still might be using and how it's changed.
What's interesting about advertising is that you really can only leverage two things: desire or necessity. The cool thing about real estate is the desires and needs don't really ever change. They're pretty stable. And so what we found is that, we go back 9 years ago, ran the first ad to, for a client. She sold 48 houses off that one ad in a year. That same ad works today.
Yep.
But what's interesting is what happens after you acquire the lead has changed quite a bit. So if you're just running ads and you're bringing in leads, you're probably not going to have an enormous amount of success. What we found 5 or 6 years ago is people stopped answering the phone. People stopped responding to the text messages. People stopped opening email campaigns. And we were like, what the the hell are we going to do? Like, our clients aren't able to close leads anymore. We got to figure this out. This is a problem. And so we started implementing remarketing campaigns. And that was where essentially, like, remarketing is kind of like when you go to Amazon to buy a product, and if you don't buy it, you go back to Facebook and that product follows you everywhere you go. That's remarketing. You're marketing to somebody over and over and over again. Well, we started implementing remarketing campaigns with video. Phones started being answered again. The text started getting responded to again. The email started being open again, which was fascinating. But we realized, as we've started to really like dive in and research this 5 or 6 years ago, 2% of people would be willing to do business with somebody the first time they met them. And that's only gotten like progressively worse. In that today, like, we want to have a relationship with the companies that we are doing business with.
Right.
Like, it's that black and white. And so we went from just being able to run ads to, okay, we can't just run ads. Now we got to have call, text, email sequences to like actually drive sales conversion. And then, so that was iteration 2. Then we went into iteration 3. Now we got to build relationships with people through our content. If we're not doing it, we're not going to win business, because again, somebody else is actively building a relationship with the lead that you're trying to convert. Like, you've got to get this. Zillow and Realtor.com and Truly and all these companies are sharing these contacts with multiple people, which means multiple people are actively pursuing them. Multiple people are actively putting out content to develop relationships with people. So just the ad work, then it was ad plus sales process. Now it's ad plus sales process plus remarketing. And what we're finding again is like this continuous iteration of change, not to the way that the ad performed, because the ad, literally, the cost per result hasn't changed in like a decade.
Right.
But to the process of developing a relationship with that person. That's what's really evolved over the last few years. So if you're not following up with leads, don't buy them. Like, don't buy leads. If you don't have a CRM, okay, I'm gonna hit the record button. If you are not gonna follow up with your leads, do not buy the damn things. Like, you're just wasting your money. Leads alone is gonna do absolutely nothing for you besides cost you $20, $200, $2,000. If you don't have a CRM, if you don't have automation in email, if you don't have automation in text, if you don't have a great call strategy dialed in, if you're not utilizing remarketing campaigns, if you're not developing a relationship with these leads after you purchase them, don't buy the damn leads. It's just going to be a waste of freaking money. Like, you've got to understand this. Leads will not solve your problem. And so, like, we've gotten to a point where, David, I would sell leads to anybody and everybody. If you're a realtor and you got a credit card, let's get you some leads, brother, because we're going to change your life. But the reality is, like, that's not going to happen today.
There's a lot of people out there that did that have done that. They're still doing that.
Yes, it's ridiculous. It's moronic. It's a waste of money. Like, we're walking into a market too. And you better, like, you got to, like, what are they getting ready to announce that we're entering a recessionary period? We're walking into a market where you better be on your A game, brother, because if you're not, you're going to feel some pain, right? The market's not getting ready to shift, because it's kind of already abruptly shifted.
Already done. We've shifted.
But we're getting ready to enter a time where things are going to get interesting. I did a little research because we're getting ready to host an event. And what was fascinating to me is from 2008 to 2012, there were 357,000 realtors that went out of business.
Yep.
But what was fascinating is that the number of homes sold didn't really dramatically shift that much. Now, that we were down 20%, like, that's true. But what's so interesting is that the people that stayed in the business almost ended up doing more business.
Right.
If you are not developing relationships with prospective customers, with leads that you're buying, just don't buy the leads. Go join a team. Like, go do something, or just don't buy the leads. Like, that's probably the easiest thing to tell you. That's the greatest piece of advice I could give you. And in my entire business is helping people generate leads. If you don't have the systems and processes and you're unwilling to create the content, work your sphere of influence. Like that's the best advice I could give you. Work your database, because lead generation, all it does is help you build a bigger database. But if you're already not developing relationships with your contacts, if you're not already staying close to your sphere of influence, you're not going to do it when you get leads. You're not going to do it when you get more people to follow up with, when you get more people to contact and interact with. So I not to be like the negative Nancy here, but like the reality is like I'm doing you a great disservice if I tell you to go buy leads and you're not going to follow up with them, or you're not going to develop relationships with them, because it's just a waste of time. There's too many other agents in your market trying to develop a relationship with the same damn contact. So if you're not going to do what it is that is required to have success with that process, like don't even buy the leads. There, I made you $200. I made you $500 this month. I made you $3,000 in leads you didn't have to go buy. Already making you money. Yeah.
Right. You know, it's you talked about the number of agents, and I've seen from 20 to the end of 21, beginning to the end of 21, there was 1.5 million realtors, and then at the end of 21, there were 1.6 million realtors. But the statistic that is really the interesting one is 400,000 of those realtors are new within the past 2 years. Right. So that means we lost 300,000 realtors. Right.
Yes.
So over that time period, which I had predicted, I had thought of it. I did not think that we would get that many more. Here's the point: is people are still coming into this business, but I think there's going to be more of a shift of people leaving than are coming in. In the state of New Jersey, there's more than 600-700 people taking the exam on a monthly basis. Right. I believe that number that you use will not be shattered over the next 2 years, but it'll be kind of equal. I think we'll lose that many at a net, because there'll still be a lot of people coming in. But here's the thing: you answered a question about strategy, what works, what doesn't work, about years ago and now. But your answer, straightforward, is that the same strategy works that worked before that works today. And what was that? Relationships.
Yeah.
We have always said it's a relationship business, right? You've talked about the most important thing that a lot of people don't want to do. And I did a video on this the other day talking about, look, you've got to use the pillars of business that you have. And the first people you need to talk to are the ones that you know. If you're not talking to the people that you know, why not? It just doesn't make sense. There's a lot of people out there that say, well, they don't want to hear from me. They don't want me to annoy them. But you've already got a relationship with them. So there's a lot of different ways, which is one of the things that I've been specializing in, ways for new agents and typical agents that are not using the sphere of influence to build upon, right? So, and they would actually probably rather work with you than that guy down the street, but they need to know that they can work with you rather than that guy down the street. Gone are the days where the bragging is going to work. And there's a lot of people in my area that really don't care for me when I start talking about they shouldn't be bragging. And I really don't care. I mean, this is just me. I'm being me, as you say. And I guess that's part of my brand where, hey, look, if you just want to tell people, oh, I just list this home. And I saw you in a video, I don't know when it was, yesterday or whenever it was, that said, look, I'm going to piss some people off here. Has anybody in this room said that I sold a house in 3 seconds for $20,000 over asking? Has anybody ever posted that? Right. I think if I've seen in the last year, 6 months, if I've seen 1,000 posts, 900 of them were like that, of just sold.
Yeah.
And that is, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, if that's your only thing, stop it or get out of the business, right? But if you're going to go forward and really have a great business, like new agents, right? They say, find someone that's successful and copy them. No, model them. Because when you copy them, you're going to see their just listed posts or their just sold posts. You're not seeing all the other shit they're doing. So in order to build a brand, in order to have a strategy, it's getting out there and, you know, used to call it pounding the pavement, pressing the flesh. And that's shaking hands, by the way. So, I mean, how would you add to that, Grant?
Oh, man, I really think that you hit the nail on the head. I think that we're in an industry where it's going to be extremely important, that old adage, you got a list to exist. And I think that you're going to start to see a lot of inventory shift to listing agents that have solid teams, infrastructures, and support. I think the buyer's agent's going to become a lot less relevant. in the way that it is today. And that's just because of the nature of the industry. It's the nature of innovation. It's the nature of litigation. Like there's lawsuits, I think, that are going to determine how some of this could play out. At the end of the day, we go back to the quote that we threw up on the screen: attention is the currency of sales. Your strategy should be to get attention and keep it. And the number one way to get attention is through social media, right? The number one way to keep it is through pushing out content out there that allows you to develop and nurture relationships with people. And, you know, if I look at what we know is working today more than anything in the world, it is building a database of people, names, email addresses, contacts, and then nurturing those relationships. Those are the same core foundational principles that any broker in the last 5 decades has taught. You got a phone book, here's some contacts. You got a phone, here, go to your contacts. Call everybody you know, tell them that you're in real estate. Well, look, if you're not willing to do that for people that you know, I can gosh damn you, you're not going to do it for leads that you've never met in your entire life, right? So go back to the basics, do what you know that you need to do to be successful. Advertising is not meant to be a cost center in somebody's business. Advertising is an investment for a return. And so if you're spending $1 to get a lead in your business, you should be getting $8 to $15 back today. It's as black and white as that. If you're spending $1, I think a lot of people would say, I'm willing to get 2 back or 3 back or 5 back or 10 back, whatever the metric is. But advertising is only meant to help bring in a return for your business. What I'm telling you, though, is if you're unwilling to practice even the most basic relationship generating and nurturing activities with people in your contacts list on your phone, you're not going to do it if you go buy leads. So practice the daily disciplines of that first. Then once you prove that you can do this, go start buying some leads. Pull those leads into a database where you can nurture those relationships and you start to expand your business. Put the right calls strategies in place, the right email strategies in place, the right text strategies in place, put remarketing in place. And no matter where you get leads from, you'll have this incredible infrastructure that is there to support you. These top producers, they didn't go get a dozen lead sources overnight and said, all right, let's see what works. It's literally taking spaghetti and throwing it against a wall. They built infrastructure to support a lead source, primarily their sphere of influence. Once they got the systems and processes and structures right, they brought in a second lead source. Oh, guess what? This structure that we built, this infrastructure, it supports Zillow too. Okay, let's go to Realtor.com. Let's go to Bold Leads. Let's go to OpCity. Let's go to Witly. Let's go to Ylopo. Let's go to Facebook. Let's go to Instagram. Then they started bringing in dozens of lead sources because they have infrastructure that can support the growth that will come from adding those multiple lead sources. So if there's any piece of advice I could give you, it is to tap into those few things, because like we've alluded to, the principles of what we're teaching do not change. The way that we apply those principles might, meaning we might get new lead sources, we might get new social platforms, but at the end of the day, if you are not building a business based on principles of relationship development, sales, those different types of things, you're not going to have success no matter what it is that you'll do. And you'll be that agent that moronically walks around saying nothing works. No, you don't work, bro. Like, you don't got this figured out. And it's going to be the reason that this pending downturn or recession or whatever it ends up being, nobody can predict, pushes your ass out of business. So wake up, pay attention, right? Do the things that you know that you're supposed to do. The people, and I'll probably end with this, the people that have the most success are those that do what they don't want to do at the highest levels, the most consistent. I don't want to wake up every single day at 4:30. I don't want to wake up every day and go to the gym and strain the hell out of my mind and body. I don't want to get in the cold showers. I don't want to eat the good for me food. I want to eat the other stuff. I don't want to do my own, consulting. Like, I don't want to do all these things all the time either, but I do them very, very consistently. And over time, they've compounded into something absolutely incredible. And that's just the advice that I would give you. Do what you know you need to do, even if you don't want to do it. Like Mike Tyson said, just do it like you love it. And you become just absolutely indestructible. So,
it's a cold shower thing. I don't understand it. I mean, I haven't been able to bring myself yet. That you'd be your first thing in the morning, right? As the first thing you do, right? So I haven't been able
after
to
the gym.
At the gym, you do it when you start?
No, after the gym, when my body is just like on fire. That
Or
way
you
it's
do it
not so
after
bad.
the gym? There's some people I've heard that you do it when you get up to get you started. It just, I'm sorry, I don't get that. But I got a couple of quick points before we finish. One is there's a lot of people out there that are saying, yeah, we do the sphere of influence. We work with the people we know. Bullshit. A lot of you are doing business with referrals by accident because you did a good job with some people and they're referring you some people. Could you actually imagine if you did your job and worked and talked to everybody you knew, kept in touch with them, and as the sphere of influence, which we call the SOI method, if we can remember that name, which has just been revamped and coming out again soon, is all about a system of staying in touch with people that you want to work with.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Those that are working by accident, just think about it for a minute and you'll be mad at me after you think about it, which is fine. I don't care. Anyway, Grant, man, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and going through some things and being a lot calmer than me, but that's okay. That's why you're here. So, I've enjoyed this tremendously. Thank you so much for sharing this special day with me, 208 weeks in a row. I want to ask you the same question that I ask everyone at the end of the sessions. How can I help you grow your business?
Man, just keep doing what you're doing. You're a great model of consistency. And you know, we get on the phone all the time, you and I, obviously, and you might say, well, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. But the reality is, like, this shows an example of modeling consistency and how doing something for a long sustained period of time can turn into something really cool. So I appreciate you continue to have me on here. Appreciate you continue to do this. I know you've provided an enormous amount of value for the people that watch it and all the content you put out there. And so just keep doing your thing, man. I love seeing it, and I'm always rooting for you and appreciative of everything we've been able to do together.
Thanks so much, man. And as always, I mean, I don't know how many you have or how many of you thrown away, but we've got a new color, right?
There you go.
We've got rid of this one here, but I had to wear it for old time's sake. You see the new color back there. So we've got blue with white, we've got black with blue, and we've got white with blue. So there's one of these coming your way, another one, so you can put it on your shelf somewhere, man. So I want again, man, I want to thank you so much. We have another great show coming up next week, show 212, 209 weeks in a row. And just everybody, you know, if you want to talk to Grant, you can check him out on @GrantWise on Instagram. You can email him at grant@witly.net. If you want to find out about Witly, go to gowitly.com. I didn't get a chance to put all that stuff in there and ask you that question, but I think what we've done is very, very powerful today. And we've got great messages off. And honestly, it's been 211 shows. I think they just keep getting better and better, man. I want to thank you for being a part of it. All right, bro. Thanks.
Thank you.
Stay with me for a minute, and I'll see everybody next week. Take care.